So, professionally speaking, as a personal development coach, I can say that growing is ghetto, growing is hard, and that's something that nobody really talks about how hard it is to grow, how painful it can be, and how to not run when the pain starts because it's going to happen. Um, some of the inconveniences about growing is that usually it's this slow process. It's not like, hey, it's your time to grow. It doesn't happen that cleanly. It's usually you just living your happy life, going doing the things that you do, and then all of a sudden it's things that used to bring you joy don't. They just start feeling like, I don't know about this no more. It starts to drain you. Some of the people that you're around, they start to feel like, mm, I don't know if I'm cool with you. And also some of your habits, some of the things that were easy for you, they start to rub. They start to feel like, this used to be easy. This used to be my go-to, and those go-tos are disappearing. And what's happening is that you are expanding. Your palette for life is shifting and changing. And when that happens, it can be pretty frustrating, mostly because it's an internal thing. And trying to, one, figure out what's happening because you feel like you're crazy because you're doing the things that you usually do, but now it's starting to feel like real weird. So you're questioning yourself a lot. You don't feel like you belong anywhere. And now you're trying to walk out this feeling, but also trying to process this feeling. So once you identify that it is truly like, I've run my course in this particular space with this person, with this thing, now you got to like literally start from scratch. And that right there is not the funnest if you are unaware of how to approach it. Now, I'm here to tell you that it can be fun, but when you're going through it by yourself, it is not. When you're going through it and you don't know you're going through it, it is not. And the biggest takeaway I can, not take away advice, I guess it's advice, is to say, like, you should kind of always be in a scanning posture, if that makes sense. Like walking through life with a, do I like this? Is this, applicable to my space right now? Does this fit with my priorities? I think the biggest rub is that no one's prepped us for like when we go through these life changes. So we were in our teens, and then we were early 20s and then 30s. And then if you up here with your girl in the 40s and there's no book, there was no book. I mean, there's books. There are books. There are books everywhere. And also, there was not a lot of conversation around changing and shifting into these different phases of life. And so you kind of just fell out with people when maybe there was an internal change happening with you and you didn't know how to communicate it. So there was a communication gap. There were boundaries that needed to be had, established, controlled, managed, where you kind of just said, this person don't like me and that this person doesn't respect me. There could have also been spaces where you watch people around you grow in ways that kind of shine a light or a mirror on your own life, and you felt a way about that. And that felt awayness was really envy. And instead of you being inspired, you shifted the envy into like, oh, they think they all that, and I don't like them. And now you've created distance, with that. or you started on a career path, or you started down your adulthoodness and you found yourself doing something because it was the easy thing to do, or the go-to thing to do, or the thing that you were told to do. And now you run into the space of like, this don't feel good. I don't like it. And you don't know what to do. And so when you don't have a connection with things that actually fuel you, excite you, engage you, you start to fall back and feeling like life ain't working for you. That could end up into depression or just a sense of like sadness, I want to say, but a discontentness with life. Also, if you're looking at life from this external posture where you're scanning all the time everything else and then applying that to yourself, that can get you worked up. There's a lot of crazy mess going on, and that create a lot of anxiety. So there's all these different flows and pivots and changes. The thing is, there's like not a space to prepare you for that. And my goal with my brand, Fun, Unique, Empowered Living, is to make growing fun, to prepare you for the growth and the changes and the different dynamics and the different tools and skills that will make it not, well, easier in some spaces. I was going to say not easier, but make it easier, make it manageable, and make it empowering. Just like the whole journey of growing, making it something that you actually want to do. Because on the other side of that growth, there is light, there is passion, there is fun, there is better connections, better relationships. You don't feel disconnected from yourself. You don't feel lost with other people. You don't feel not ostracized, kind of like isolated, because growing can feel like a very isolated space. And sometimes in that growth, you will have to separate yourself from the things that you are comfortable with until you get your bearings, you know? And that could be hard. And if you don't know how to um, relate to yourself and sit by yourself, that could be another space that could put you into a state of sadness or depression. So growing is hard, but when you're prepared to do so, it could be this nice little experiment in the space where you get to explore and discover. And I think that that's a better posture for you to approach growth, and to know that if you don't want to be the person who's like the same person that they've been all X amount of years of their life, and you want to be a person that's constantly looking for the best that God has promised us to have, and also to be a person where you are connected to yourself. You are connected to your loved ones. You are being your best self and living your best life. It's kind of better to have a continuous improvement, not vibe, but mindset. There we go. That's word. A continuous improvement mindset about yourself. And that's not to say to like not be satisfied with who you are. There's like these two uh, spaces that are happening at the same time. There's a space where you accept that I am great, I am good, I am good enough, I am perfectly made, designed, all of those things. Gratitude on 10. Not or. And there's a space where you recognize that in life, every day you wake up is a new day. Every day you go to sleep, you are regenerating new cells, you are growing, you are becoming a new person literally every night. And it is your job to supplement this space of, I am, sorry, wrong hand. I am thankful for who I am, and also embracing that I am becoming at all times. I'm becoming a better version of myself every day and always. And so you've not ever arrived. And I think that's what makes growth harder than it needs to be, is that at some point there was this arrival, like I made it and there was a stop. And so as you set this "I made it" mindset or vibe within yourself, you kept growing. You kept growing, but now where you stop the timeline, you've outgrown that, and now there's this disconnect. Now my hands are getting weird. now there's this now there's this disconnect, and that gap is discontent. That gap is not feeling aligned. That gap is strained relationships. That gap is so many things where you outgrew that. And so my advice again is to shift your perspective instead of having these hard, milestones in your space, to have like a more continuous improvement. You're always growing, always scanning to, you know, ask yourself, do I still like this thing? You go into a restaurant, if you've been ordering the same thing all the time, are you ordering that because you like it? Or are you ordering that because you're scared to try something different? If you're going to the same establishments all the time, seeing the same people all the time, are they still conducive to your current, demographics, to your current goals, to your current dreams? Do you need to revamp? Do you need to move around circles? Do you need to swap out some people? Do you need to stop going to certain places or start going to other places? But if you're constantly scanning your environment for opportunities to reassess what's going on around you and you stay keen to that, it makes the growing part less like raw. I like sound effects. And you don't hit that wall because you're constantly doing this. Actually, there is no wall. You're just constantly, moving about your day and moving about your life. So that's just didn't really have a goal with this video. Again, I told y'all I'm gonna be doing things until I figure out what I want to do here. But I thought about that and just wanted to give that advice that growing is hard. Let's say what growing pains? Yeah, growing pains. Growing does have pain associated, but that pain is stretching things that have not been stretched, facing things that have not been faced, trying new things, that uncomfortable space. So all those things equal pain. But if you change your mindset to recognize as life is a continuous growing experience, then it's not as hard because you're anticipating it. When you anticipate things, it's not so much of a surprise and a bump on the head. So that's my PG tip for today. Oh, I like that. Personal growth. Okay, PG tip. I like that. Okay. See y'all next time. Bye.